turn to the truth, because in the end you have no other way possibility, because your ultimate destination is defined in the unfolding evolution of your inner world consciousness. If only you would comprehend this. Do not be ones in knowing of the truth as individuals and as a people, like your heads' authorities, mightful ones, governing ones, are ones in knowing of the truth. So you are not prejudiced in foolishness or rationality, like them, and so you do not consider the true prophets to be liars, so that you also do not fall into submissiveness before people of your kind, human beings, and before gods and tin gods and false prophets, priests and other servants' hands with hell press of lying. Know that there is no foolishness or rationality in the true prophets, but rather they are out of their own initiative proclaimers of the truth of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of love creation. The true prophets bring you the message of the truth, and they are your sincere and true counselors. Do not be surprised that they come to you to give you an admonition when they state to you your time to come future, which you are willing to terribly run into in your exogenous intellect, and do not be surprised that the true prophets come from your midst and have more knowledge and wisdom than you, but consider that they have selected themselves to do this, and therefore they have also fathomed and learned the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of love creation, and of its appearance nature, so that they warn you about what will happen if you do not follow the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life, and thereby create a disaster. And think of the time of your existence, life, which you shall use to become knowing, conscious, and wise, so that you may manage the inheritance that has been benevolently given to you as earth and each kind of life form, as well as all firmaments, the universe, and as earth's worlds, planets, and lights in the firmament, celestial bodies. So you are put in place as their guardians, protectors, and consider the constitution of your body, which enables you to stand above all animals and above all creatures, so that you may intentionally, consciously, unfold, evolve, in your inner world consciousness, something which is only possible to you alone as people of your kind, human beings. And the true prophets come to you so that you may meet the wellspring of love creation, in everything that it has created, in veneration, deference, and not worship and pray to gods and tin gods or people of your kind, human beings. And truly you shall not worship and shall not pray up to people of your kind, human beings, but, if they are worthy of it, you shall only show them deference as well as esteem and dignity, and consider that the true prophets indeed bring you admonishments in the teaching of truth, because they are truthful, but they do not bring you anything with which they threaten you, because if terrible things threaten you, then you yourselves create threats in the manner that you do things which are wrong, by means of which the threats are fulfilled. True prophets have never brought down punishment or rage on you. They also do not dispute with you about the truth and its name, the valuable, as you do this, and as your forefathers and foremothers, ancestors, forebears, did it, although they had not received authority to do this from anywhere, just as you have not either. And because you do this, you remain amongst the waiting ones in knowing of the truth, until you bethink yourselves and you turn to the truth. The true prophets are attempting with their teaching of truth, their teaching of spirit, their teaching of life, to rescue you in benevolence, humanity, from all the harm, the misery, and the hardship, and from everything that you bring about deliberately and unfairly, as well as non-righteously, in consciencelessness, in virtuelessness, through lacking the knowledge of the truth. But you cut off the last twigs and branches from the tree on which you are sitting, because you repudiate the signs, evidence, of the truth, and are knowing in the truth. Truly, turn to the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of love creation, and also to the laws and recommendations of its appearance nature, because apart from these laws and recommendations there are no others through which all of the existence life, with regard to the condition cause and decision effect equals cause and effect, would be determined truly, right from the very start of your existence, clear signs, evidence, of the truth of the wellspring of love creation, and its decision nature, as well as of its laws and recommendations, have come to you so that you may recognize, see them, and follow the truth. Therefore allow yourselves to be instructed, taught in the truth, so that you may follow all love, power, the creational, and you do not bring about any harm to yourselves, as you do not have to suffer anything painful in yourselves. And consider the earth on which you are dwelling, and which is given to you benignly, benevolently, as an inheritance, so that you may build your dwellings and palaces upon its plains, or so you can dig them into the mountains in order to be protected against the weather elements. Do rightfully in these things, and do not rob land from one another, neither the plains nor the mountains nor the dwelling places, but do rightly and fairly in all things, so that you do not commit any non-right whatsoever on earth, and do not foment any chaos. And therefore do not elect arrogant, vain ones, ungodly, religious, sectarian, heads, authorities, rulers, mightful ones, for your peoples, because they are weak and are believers in gods and in gods, for which reason they issue evil laws and bring about incite, battles, wars, through which many people of your kind, human beings, are killed, murdered, and also great destruction is brought about, quite apart from the fact that such heads, authorities, rulers, and mightful ones are responsible for much hardship and misery, unfreedom, bondage, unpeace, and dissonance, disharmony. Be certain, knowing that they are delegates of their own evil in themselves, and that they truly do not accept the truth which is brought to them by the prophets. The arrogant, vain, ungodly, religious, sectarian, heads, authorities, rulers, mightful ones of your peoples do not care themselves about the truth and equitableness, fairness, either, nor do they care themselves about righteousness, conscientiousness, peace, freedom, and consonance, harmony, in the people and for the people, as it is in the nature of those heads, authorities, rulers, mightful ones, to raise themselves up unto their area position, to outrage, gavalt, murder, crimes, bribery, etc. And these heads, authorities, rulers, mightful ones, defy your desires with commands of gavalt, terror, which they instruct to be carried out upon you by their henchmen, and they threaten horrible things to you if you fail to follow their commands, which are meted out by their envoys. Therefore they have you tormented, tortured, or killed if you act contrary to what they are demanding from you in inequity and fairness. And if you are struck by an earthquake such that you are stretched out on the ground dead, in your dwellings in the morning, then they instruct their henchmen to rob you even in death, so that they can enrich themselves with your possessions, as is also done by many non-righteous ones, conscienceless ones, unfair ones, irresponsible ones, and virtuous ones who belong to godliness's religions, and subgodliness's sex cults, and undertake robbing of corpses, body stripping, which is something that one's knowing of the truth, righteous ones, conscientious ones, fair ones, responsible ones, and virtuous ones never do. Do not follow these unfair ones, irresponsible ones, non-righteous ones, conscienceless ones, and virtuous ones. Rather follow the teaching of truth which is brought to you by the true prophets as a message of the laws and recommendations of the wellspring of love creation. This message alone offers you sincere counsel and shows you the path for leading, guiding, existence, life. Therefore you shall listen to the sincere counsel that the prophets give to you as true counselors. Follow the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life, so that you do not commit any infamous actions, crimes, and are not worse, and do not commit even more despicable actions, such as no one before you in the world has committed. Do not be excessive in your way of life, and do not engage in desires, vice, wantonness, addictions, urges, and if you have congress, sexual intercourse, as a man with a man, or as a woman with a woman, or man and woman together, then maintain discipline over yourselves, self-control, so that you do what is rightful.